What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles, welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. And to put the question out there, are you in favor of figures being re-released? Once we saw Hasbro was putting back into rotation the Silver Surfer from the Walgreens line, sparked a lot of interesting dialogue and debate. There were people on both sides going, hey, this is awesome. This gives me a chance to get a figure I was eyeing on eBay for months. No, why are they putting this back out there? They're killing the collector's investment market because, man, this thing was going to pay for little Trey's scholarship. Now, what am I supposed to do with this figure that's now worth retail price? And this happened earlier as well this year when Mattel was showing off their all their new releases coming as part of WrestleMania weekend, and there were lots of legends getting back in there. And some collectors on forums were going, "This is terrible. Why are they doing this? If nothing else, they should change the packaging so my original figure retains its value." I'm thinking, I was a huge major comic book fan in the 1990s, and that meant I was all into the foil embossed, poly bag, trading card, gatefold covers, the whole works. And you name it, I was collecting it. I was going to the comic book store every month with a bag full of this. I just had to go out of the store holding them with both hands. I couldn't just have my bag hanging, swinging from my hand. I need to have a double grip one, a G.I. Joe style, to make sure they weren't falling out because I had liquid gold in my hand. And for everybody, for a lot of people who were collecting during the 90s, it was how much money is this special edition Savage Dragon #2 going to be worth? Because it's always the second issue of a comic book that's going to be worth the gold mine. And, I don't know if I would have ever gotten a payday. I'm pretty sure I still have my Superman 75 poly bag wrapped up. Superman dies for real this time. But whatever. I mean, for me, that was like a bonus. I really enjoy the comics. I have fun reading them. I may never make more than $10 off of those comic books, but it was still fun and great to me. And that's what I'm finding kind of interesting, seeing comments now in the action figure market where people are thinking what they're buying right now is going to be the equivalent of a mint on card G.I. Joe Real American Hero USSS flag. I don't know if anything's going to be worth something to somebody else 5-10 years down the road where it's going to be like, yes, now I can pay for this Lamborghini. This yacht is now covered. My mansion with 6 pools, check. Thanks to these 10 Marvel Legend figures, these 8 WWE, these 3 Star Wars figures that I have sold on eBay. First off, eBay is a bit of a scam in the sense that they will go with the buyer on every occasion. So you could almost hand deliver it to someone who buys something from you, and you can still have a grievance filed against you, and eBay may go, "We're going to file in favor of the buyer." And you're like, what are you talking about? So eBay disclaimer aside, I thought it was interesting. I wanted to put it out there to you guys. Are you in favor of figures being re-released? So 155 of you voted in the poll that I posted yesterday. Thank you so much. Really great, really awesome. And I just asked the question, are you in favor of re-releases? And I had 2 options. No caveat, didn't put any more detail because I wanted to hear what you all thought. So the first was no, I need the value to stay high on my figures. The second was yes, gives me a chance to get a figure I missed out on earlier. This was no contest. It was not even close. 90% of you all were in favor of getting re-releases because it gives you a chance to get another figure. 10% said no, let me keep all my money because this is going to be a big payday for me at some point later on down the road. And, so we're looking at all the different things. And this is not in any particular order. Just there's definitely a need to put figures back in rotation because collectors are coming new every week, every year. There's people who decide, oh man, I've heard great things about this line. I want to get in on it now. And if every figure's $70 to $80, they're just not going to collect it. It's like, well, they look cool. They're putting out stuff that looks really great now. But if I can't get my favorite character or 3 of my favorite characters, what's the point? I don't care about the tertiary, the secondary characters. They never put out the leader of the team. That's kind of ridiculous if you think about it from that perspective. Now, I do kind of sympathize with people who are like, "Oh man, just change the color, something." I feel like overall it matters more to people who are not getting a chance to get a figure they wanted to get another crack at it. And Marvel Legends is showing that this re-release strategy is absolutely key because see here, this Walgreens Silver Surfer, they just put back out, I think on Tuesday, sold out. He's done. I mean, you can still get him from other places, but not on Pulse. He's sold out. I'm sure eventually we'll see him back on there, but just this first crack to get him again, he's gone. Then got another one, the Kingpin, the retro one. Another figure. Really great figure. Big fan of how he turned out. 39.99. He's not even the regular 24, 29, or old school $20 price point. He's sold out. He's coming in September 1st. Again, I don't quite understand how a pre-order can sell out. That doesn't quite make a lot of sense to me. But you're seeing, hey, definite demand for it. And this party keeps rolling because there's another re-release set from the Marvel Legends 80th anniversary set. So if you're keeping track at home, that was good 4 years ago. I think like 5 years ago. I mean, yeah, because they're on their 85th anniversary. They put this out back 5 years ago. So I think a window of 5 years is enough time to get it re-released back out. Colossus and Juggernaut is also sold out. And there's nothing changed with these figures. See, Colossus still has pins, so these are the same figures before. They're not making these upgrades, they're just putting it back out there. And I think that's enough time. So that's really cool for people who missed out on these figures earlier to get them. And 5 years is enough time for new collectors to come back, collectors who might have fallen on hard times. Shout out Big Boss Man, who decided, hey, I can get these figures again to get another crack at them. So there you go. This is one is done. Retro Deadpool, Marvel Legends 80th anniversary. He sold out again. So you're seeing that there's a definite demand for these figures to get back out there for people who missed out earlier. And is clearly a need for it. And then just for fun, decided to go on to another affiliate, Entertainment Earth, and the Retro Gray Beast 1575 sold out. Now that might just be because this is the cheaper version, but and I don't even know there's a huge demand for this figure. He's gone too. Let's go on to eBay and show exactly how this thing rolls out. This is just I want to go see the carnage, the mayhem on eBay looking for Marvel Legends figures. Let's pull our attention here to this one. The Marvel Legends X-Men 2-pack Dark Phoenix Jean Grey, or just Dark Phoenix, and Cyclops, Toys R Us exclusive, RIP Toys R Us. We've gotten this Dark Phoenix back out. She doesn't have this great dark shading, so they changed that figure up. I would still buy another version of Cyclops, particularly if you have the same great shading on that Vulcan body, because I think that's a big improvement. But $500, that seems a bit excessive. Whoever it is, action figure collector, and if one of you all are the action figure collector, no shame, no hate. Just like, wow, that's a lot to ask for these figures. So you can see people are charging a pretty solid amount of money for figures on Marvel Legends, right? They want $499. Of course, this means absolutely nothing. These figures are only worth what you're willing to pay for it. But the fact that people are charging this for some of these figures, it's wild. And get everybody else in there a chance to get these figures. This Marvel Legends 3-pack with Ultron, Hulk, Vision, 425. It seems a bit excessive, but that's how it goes with these things. I mean, people are trying to get these figures. They're trying to make as much money as they can for it. Let's take another look here. This is one I think also kind of interesting in the sense of speculation and how about my retail value being enhanced. Looking at these figures as an investment. You got the Marvel Legends HasLab Galactus 675. Yeah, I mean, first name Flames probably will get that because Galactus is not going back out there. I think in terms of a resale investment, the HasLabs are always the way to go because people are going to have buyer's remorse or non-buyer's remorse and want to go back and get them. But I don't think that Hasbro should go, all right, we're going to re-release our HasLabs. Or should they? I mean, maybe wait 5-6 years, put Unicron back out there, the Sentinel. The Sentinel even has more reason now. If you've been watching X-Men 97, absolutely no other spoilers outside of that. Galactus in 2030. does it matter if we get those figures back out there? Does it kill your value as a collector? That's something that they put out a long time ago that you could have sold for 675 is back out there for the masses again. I don't know. Speaking of the Sentinel, let's take a look at what that's going for. 625. I mean, for me, I didn't get it because I don't have space or money for that big Sentinel, and I needed more than one. I don't know. Yeah, I could have made it master mold, but it's like, nah. I mean, I want to have a bunch of those gigantus towering over my X-Men singles and at least three. And that was not financially feasible. So I didn't get it. But I'm not going, oh man, I don't expect them to re-release the Sentinel. It'd be cool if they did, but I'm not expecting them to. And let's take a look at this figure because I know you guys have mentioned this is one that you want to see back out there, re-release for everybody who missed out on it. That is the retro Rhino figure and a really great one. So I do hope for everyone who's missed it, they can get a shot. These are just some of the auctions going for it right now. 65, 59.95, 71.95, and $10 shipping, $60, 870 shipping. So there is a clear demand right here for this retro Rhino. If I'm Dwight, Ryan, Dan, hey, let's get Rhino back out there for everybody so they can pay $39.99 instead of $70 for it. So I think there's a real value for it. And if you're one of those people who has one of those Rhino figures on card, what are you waiting for to sell it? If that is your purpose, we've seen now that Hasbro in particular is going to go, all right, these figures, people are not getting a chance to get them. Let's get them back out to the masses. And if you see that something that you're trying to sell is going for a huge amount right now, put it out there before, next year when the retro Rhino gets re-released and go, oh man, I just, that's your strategy for collecting. Not hating, just kind of putting it out there for you. If you see that it's high, sell it high now as opposed to waiting more years to continue to progress and play out. And then maybe that inevitable re-release comes out and then it's like, oh no, you sunk my investment. It's not a battleship. Go ahead and make your money on it while it's high before there's any chance of it getting re-released. I don't think these figures are getting higher and higher in value the more time passes, especially when Hasbro has shown they'll put these figures back out in rotation for anyone who missed out on them earlier. So that in mind. And then I was talking about Mattel with their WWE line. Let's take a look at how they're working. So Triple H, Series 7, Elite, they're on like Elite 107. So this is a long time coming for this figure. But if you wanted that DX version of him, let's see, $40 to have him with his accessories, the Elite version. You can get him and Sean for the low price of $299 with $10 shipping. I figured $299 you can make shipping free. But then you've got the loose version with all the accessories for $60 and $7 or $6 shipping. So this figure is certainly not cheap. You're going to pay for him $45. He's missing some of those accessories. This one doesn't even have all the gear, $19.99. So there is a clear and definite market for this figure getting back out to everybody who missed out. Ringside Collectibles is doing From the Vault. You can get this figure now for $29.99. Shawn Michaels for $27.99. It's awesome for people who missed out on the figure earlier. Same for the Dudley Boys, who, they signed the deal real fast and they were there for like a cup of coffee, just long enough to get a basic set and these Elite figures out there. And then they were gone. It was like, Mattel, why didn't you make them in their ECW versions or their early Attitude Era attire instead of the modern ones? Now we're finally getting them. But if you were to go on eBay looking for the Dudley Boys, you can pay $99.99, $15, $22.99. These are for the basic versions, not the Elite ones, by the way. So you would pay a lot, $100, $90, $68, not cheap. So it's really great that people can get another crack at these figures. So I am always going to be in favor of everyone else who might have missed out on figures getting another opportunity to make use of what I got. So I want to look at the comments because you all were really filling me in here, giving some insight from fellow collectors' perspectives on this exact topic. Entree Jones 39 said, definitely, yes. When you try to pre-order, most times you miss out on a figure and they're hardly in stores, and the eBay market prices are insane. The Watcher 9500 said, yes, re releases are extremely important. Two handed axe says, yes, you have to look at it, the amount of time between releases and the amount of repaint. That's how you keep it fair for everyone. They will always remake major characters. It's a matter of when. So two handed axe is going to change it up just a little bit, maybe spread out the time. I think a 5 to 6 year window is more than enough time, even if it's the exact same figure, to put it back out there for people who are getting these figures to sell. You've got 6 years to sell and you haven't sold. It's kind of on you when they put it back out there. So that's a thought on that end. 80 Skip from the 90s says it's always good to get something you missed out on. Bruce Anderson 2103 says real collectors want the figures, not investment. Zombies, no, but zombies and stuff. 84. I'm fine with the re-release, giving everyone a chance to get something that's awesome. It's great. Plus, it saves me money if I already have it. Exactly. Paul's Swain Art. Paul Swain Art. One. Nope. Paul Swain Art. I feel like I'm butchering your name. Please forgive me. 100% in favor. You can't expect to bring in essential new customers or casuals if essential characters, particularly A-listers, aren't available, especially in iconic or classic looks appearances. And everybody loses their emotional investment if they're permanently missing important representations or impossible grails. People walk away from lines they don't feel they complete. That butchered that. People walk away from lines they don't feel they can complete, in as much as completing what's important to them. Plus, I want everyone to be able to love what I love. I get absolutely no enjoyment from the prospect that I have something that somebody else can't, because I'm not a selfish psychopath. I enjoy what I enjoy. Somebody else not being able to get something absolutely doesn't help my enjoyment. That's a really good point, because it's like, why am I like, you can't have it because I have it? And that's a really good point in the sense of like, let everybody get a crack at those figures. And it's all good. And there was something else you mentioned. Oh, yes. You said people walk away from lines, and that is so true because you know, I think you all know my deep love for the G.I. Joe Classified series line and how awesome I think it is, and how they've done such an amazing job putting figures out there that I want and all this good stuff. But I know there's several collectors who are like, nope, I'm done with this line because I had several cracks, but I missed out on this figure, and he's too essential for me to go and not have this figure in my collection. I'm talking about Serpensor. Serpensor is super expensive now on eBay. 260, $40 with no chariot. So there you go. 190, 190 in box still. That's terrible. 349 for Serpensor and Dr. Mindbender. Excuse me, two figures that are sold out. Can't get them anywhere else. 189, 143. That's rough. 190, 85 for the chariot all by itself. The box 550. Wild. So, I mean, there's a lot of people who are like making good money selling off Serpensor, right? Until Hasbro re-releases it, hopefully, because I've read from some of you all that you're not into classified because they didn't put Mindbender Serpensor out for you to get them. In fairness to Hasbro, they did re-release them several times. They kept trying to get them out to the masses. The demand was just so high. Hopefully they'll get them back out. But if you don't put figures back in rotation, you do run the risk of people not sticking with the line because I wanted this character that you don't have out there. So MOC Turtle 4911 said, I've never purchased a figure with the intent or notion of one day selling it. I buy figures to display and enjoy. If one day a company releases the same figure, then someone else can also enjoy it. Did I miss it? Wait, if one day a company releases the same figure, then someone else can also enjoy it that missed it or was late to the line. Exactly. You got to have people who don't come into the line at the same time as we do, being able to get another crack. Banner Bear says yes. First, scalpers themselves prevent collectors getting the characters they want on release, eyeing on profit on resale. Second, new collectors are essential to keep the line going as old ones fall away and they need the core characters without paying inflated prices, which is off-putting. Let's see, there were some really good ones, and I don't want to pass on everything, but Steezy Showcase said not everything should be re-released, but the recent ones like Kingpin and Silver Surfer, those guys are too big of names to not make available often. James Green, it's a yes for me, dog. All right, I added in the dog because everyone can have the opportunity to get what they want. Holy Hane. Yes, I think it helps those who want to complete their collection. It's not great for resellers though, or collectors trying to offload their collection. Very good point on this one, and that is definitely something to also consider for collectors who've fallen on hard times and aren't trying to, rip anybody off. They're just like, I got to pay my water bill. I've got to pay my car note. I've got to keep my house. I need to sell this stuff. But if something that I really love, I really treasure this figure, but I know it's going to make a lot of money. It's going to make a huge difference in cutting some of these bills if I sell it. And then, oh man, it just got re-released. That hurts. And I really feel for those collectors, not so much those who are like, I'm gonna make so much money selling this figure later. So yeah, there's definitely a tricky line on that. But for that end, for people who are like, gotta sell this collection to pay for other things that are more important, I definitely feel for you because you're not going into it thinking how much money can I make on this thing. Robert's Infinite Realm says, I'd rather have updates. That Silver Surfer is good, but is in dire need of being updated. Same with Moon Knight from last year. In general, I find it lazy on Hasbro's part. Interesting point, too, because sure, they could just make an updated figure. Why go? Here's the same figure from a few years back. There you go. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing that Colossus updated to have a little bit better articulation. So, yeah, I understand that part of it, too. Definitely something to consider for him. JT Wolf. Oh man, did I start this? No, JT Wolf. It was a lot of stuff. It was really a lot more based on the WrestleMania discussion in forums that I was reading. Way more. It was just the Silver Surfer sparked it again. So I was like, all right, cool. I definitely want to talk about it this time. But you were not the one that just got all this going and all this stuff. I'm 90% an open and display collector, but it is nice to guess right and have something that's actually worth money sometimes. It also makes justifying the insane amount of money I'd suspect most of you spend on this hobby to have some figures go up in value and offset the major loss you take every time you open a figure. Collecting is supposed to have some return as it'll be worth money one day. I'm not bullying. I'm not buying and selling like the stock market. Just occasionally buy two of something I think will go up in value and store from some future event where I need to sell or can trade at a show. If we take that value away, a large percentage of people buying the product will stop buying. We need the investor buyers and even the scalpers to keep our figures coming. I don't really know about the scalper side of things because I don't think it helps Hasbro's bottom line for scalper till I die 24 to have 18 $5 Ollie's Crimson Guard figures that he's now in turn trying to sell for $50 a pop. Hasbro doesn't see any of that. And I don't know how that helps the companies. I don't think it helps the collectors. Oh, cool. Only person I see that's helped in this case is the scalper. So I don't know if I agree with you on that part, but maybe the investors. But I think if the investors collect and go, these figures aren't worth anything, they're going to offload the lines too. And then ultimately won't help. I think it's more so based on the collectors who are in it and into these properties because they love it way more than people who are looking at them as a super major payday that eventually may not ever happen, or the scalpers who are just like, let me try to flip these figures really quick and not really doing anything to help it. Jason Wolf also said what Hasbro, Marvel, and Disney should look at is the fact that Silver Surfers all go for crazy amounts on the secondary market. So we like him. So get him right in the movies. Give him a dang comic series again instead of 5 partners and re-release new versions of him more often or release new versions of him more often. I agree with that too because it's weird how there's some characters they get a new figure every 5-6 years where we pretty much rely on getting a new Daredevil, a new Wolverine, Deadpool, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America every year. So there's definitely something on that into that. Thank you for all those great thoughts on that. I really hope getting good dialogue. Let me see here. There was some more I want to get to as well. Intimate Snob said, I'm all for re-releases if It's more than just a paint change. A re-release should be to add value, to include stuff you couldn't include before, or to upgrade articulation. Interesting. I get it from a business point of view, there's a chance to increase profits. But from a consumer point of view, if all you do is change the paint, it's kind of a waste, in my opinion. I love your opinions, guys. Keep them coming. So I think that was everything that I wanted to make sure I got to on this. And Ryan Daly said, I'm in favor of re-releases, but only if they sell out again in the first 4 minutes. That seems like the case with some of these Marvel Legend figures. So definitely an interesting topic to consider. And, you know, some of you all already commented on the poll, but what do you think? Should companies continue to re-release figures? Should they take that Star Wars model? All right, here's a re-release of Jedi Luke Skywalker. This time, his chest piece comes off, so you can have that little flapping in now. Do you want to see changes in your re-releases, or do you just want another crack of the same figure? Hasbro's Marvel Legends is in an interesting position because they've made some real strides to articulation, to scale, to likenesses over the last few years. So we're seeing drastically better figures. And maybe as a collector, I wouldn't necessarily want to buy the Warbird that came out in the 3-pack with Captain America and Radioactive Man when I get a new one with hyper articulation. It's much improved than the old one. So let me know, as always, what you all think. Thank you so much for watching. This episode of Lyle's Figure Files has been filed.